My name is Bradford Jennings. I am doing a video essay on homelessness in America, and I am trying to persuade federal and state policymakers to change their position on the subject. Many times a person will go homeless and with no support systems, nothing to do all day, no job, no source of income. They do what they can to get through the day, to cope, to cover existing mental health issues I will get into that also. Among adults experiencing homelessness, 22% had a serious mental health issue, either before or after. This just plays into the fact that they're undercared for. Their mental health is not taken serious, their physical health is not taken serious, their well-being is not taken serious. And I won't say that that it's never taken serious. There's definitely been policies that I will get into here in a second that have helped them, but society today has put a stigma on homeless people that they're junkies. That's a harsh word, but they're junkies, or they deserve this, or they did it to themselves, which is not always the case. To add a little intersectionality to this, 68% of people experiencing homelessness are in southern and western states, which are majority colored states, or immigrants, or you know what I mean. And that plays into a whole bigger thing that is not really my topic of discussion, but things like systematic racism, not being able to buy a house because of your color in a certain area, things like that really play into that statistic. With the affordable housing crisis going on right now, and affordable housing being more and more hard to come by and less common, it's making it hard for lower income families to continue paying their rent, to support families while paying the rent, or paying a mortgage, or whatever it may be, bills, utilities, water. It's making it even harder for them to stay in the house that they have and putting people on the streets. I have an article here. It was a local ordinance criminalizing camping / sleeping outdoors in Fremont, California. It effectively criminalized sleeping outside, being homeless, being without a house, without a car, without anything like that. It effectively criminalized it and made it illegal. People who were caught, the penalties of up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. I have another article pulled up here from Florida. It's essentially the same thing as the California ban, but they're not criminalizing it. You don't have to pay $1,000 fine or 6 months in jail, not that I've seen on here at least. And they're made to put designated camping areas for people without homes, which is still not the greatest, but they could face enforcement if they sleep outside of those areas. Obviously not as bad as the California enforcement, but it's still a problem. Another thing I want to talk about is hostile architecture. Hostile architecture is pretty cruel in my opinion. People who already have nowhere to sleep are being told they can't sleep where other people don't even want to sleep. And it's not really bothering anybody most of the time. I have a few examples pulled up here. New York City subway benches. This one may not be as pop out to you, but if you really think about it, yes, they replace their wooden benches with metal benches first off, and then they divide them so no one can lay on them. Switching to metal is one thing, and then dividing them so it makes it even more uncomfortable to try to sleep there is, I wouldn't say evil, but it's not very nice. Anti-homeless spikes in San Francisco is my second example. Business owners, anybody who can place these spikes, they put them under bridges and doorways, anywhere a homeless person may sleep that, a regular person who doesn't sit on a day-to-day basis. So again, they're putting spikes where already someone doesn't want to sleep, and that's the only place they can sleep, and you're taking it away from them. That's just not something I could see that would really help, unless it was in an area where it's strictly like it's in an arena. They're sleeping in an arena. They're sleeping inside of a space that's obviously reserved, but out in public is a little different for me. I did have an older article that I found in past research, and I think I found a newer article. I don't remember if I found this one or not, but the first one was the McKinney-Vento Act, and the second one was the Housing First Approach. The Housing First Approach was essentially just getting people off the streets as fast as possible and getting them into permanent housing as quick as possible. And the main thing behind that was doing that without them having to go through background checks or getting clean or doing anything like that. That does sound like good, but a lot of times that can stop. Wait, hold on, let me kind of elaborate. It doesn't sound good, but it may sound bad that they're letting people in houses without background checks or getting clean or anything like that, but a lot of times that can stop people from getting houses altogether, and then they just give up and they stay on the streets, which is not what we want. So they get them in the houses, like as to permanent housing as quick as possible without background checks or anything like that, and then they focus on, or they can focus on stuff like, rehab, therapy, or medications, health, stuff like that. The McKinney-Vento Act essentially helps programs. It provides funding and mandates for programs that help people that are homeless. It's mainly geared towards the youth. It removes the holds of maybe a vaccine record or proof of residency for the kid. It has local education agencies go out and identify homeless youth, try to get them in school, stuff like that. And I think that's also a good approach to help these children and these parents get a weight off the parents' shoulders, and they can maybe go find a job and while the kids are in school, anything like that. The two that I just mentioned are the ones that I think are doing the best right now. And I think if we kept doing things like that, it would essentially eradicate homelessness, as if children are getting education and parents are able to get jobs while kids are while kids are in schools, giving people houses without them having to go through a whole bunch of stuff while they're still on drugs or still possibly trying to get off drugs or going through something mentally or something like that. Just get them in the house and shelter, and then get them what they need, and then they can function in society, and then they can be successful. Last thing I would like to talk about is the disconnect between the people who are making these policies and the people that they actually affect. A lot of times the policies will be made by people with money and who are in power and who most likely have never experienced homelessness or never even been in proximity to a homeless person. And if they have, they're ridiculing them or looking at them some kind of way. And I think that disconnect is what brings the policies we have today. They're not thinking of, if I didn't have a place to stay, how would I feel if someone took away the only place I had to sleep, and it wasn't even a good place to sleep, but you took it anyway, you know what I mean? And when you come from richer households and you're also older, you come from a different time, I noticed that people who are older, they like to put the blame on the individual. A lot of time it can be their fault, but it's not always their fault. And it puts them in this mindset of they're trying to be a victim or they're doing this to themselves, so they deserve whatever's happening, which is not true at all. And I don't think that, the way they go about it is, I would say, correct, but I wouldn't say I blame the federal and state policymakers, even though I would say it's partially their fault. They have put in many things that have helped homeless people, and they have done pretty terrible things that have hurt homeless people. It's more so about thinking about your policies before you implement them and better understanding what these people are actually going through.